Hello, and welcome to Talkin' Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I am the proud principal of the Leesburg High School. And we have our co-host, Martin Aftuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. And today we are honored to have Dr. Jenie Shepard, the Director of School Improvement and Professional Learning and Assessment for the Clay County School District. Dr. Shepard, Jenie, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's great to be here to be able to talk shop with you guys today on your podcast.
We appreciate you coming on. We had a nice long day of PD for
thank you so
principals
much.
today, so we're ready to go.
Great day of learning. We have amazing leaders in Clay County.
Absolutely, you do. And again, Jenie and I go back from, we were just talking off air. I believe we did a PD session back in 2013-14 on learning goals and scales as well early in that work. So I'm just excited to touch base with you and kind of catch up, see what you've been up to, and kind of talk about the amazing things that you're doing and how you're leading teachers and, most importantly, new teachers in Clay County schools. So we'll jump right in.
So Jenie, tell us kind of the role you're in now and where you started and kind of how you got to it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm currently, as Mike said, the Director of School Improvement, Professional Learning and Assessment. But I've been in education now for almost going on 23 years. And so I started, teaching elementary school, 5th grade. But from the very beginning, I was always an inclusion teacher, either the gen ed teacher with paired with an ESE teacher, or I did shift into that ESE co-teacher role, working with other gen ed teachers as I moved along. And so I always joke around because I think only 1 year in my teaching career was I ever in a classroom full-time all by myself. So often teachers work in private practice, and I've had the benefit of always working collaboratively with people and learning from the amazing people that I've worked with. And so I started on my coaching journey as a co-teacher, just kind of being paired with teachers who maybe were new to the profession and didn't have quite as much experience. And then I moved into a full-time coaching role at the district, started as a reading development facilitator, moving into a secondary instructional coach. And that's when I got to work alongside you, Mike. And then I moved into administration. So then I did become an assistant principal at junior high, elementary, and I had the opportunity to open one of our new schools, Discovery Oaks Elementary, several years ago. That was a really great experience, learning how to create systems, because when you open a brand new school, there aren't systems in place. And so learning how to help people who are coming from all different places kind of learn to work together was something that was has been a huge benefit in this role. Because I moved into this role one other thing that I did before I became an administrator, when I was that secondary specialist, was I did shift into a role. I helped establish the district's beginning teacher program back then. And that was with Dr. Weiskopf. She was great. Now Dr. Feltner, she was fantastic. She's been such an amazing mentor and helped me learn a lot of that as I grew and developed as an educator. So now I moved into this role during COVID. It was summer of 2020, and when everybody
Fun times.
Yeah, if you want to call it that, was definitely a chance to learn a lot. But we, at that time, there was a huge need for professional learning on how to use technology to teach and everything. And so I came on board with a lot of other amazing educators. And so we were able to kind of learn to work together, to break down silos, work collaboratively, and to really establish the coherent systems that we have going now in Clay County.
Talking about those systems, what do we do? Like, we do so many things differently, I think, in Clay County that a lot of other districts may not do. And I think it's important we focus on, like, what are you doing with the new teacher programs now? Like, how do you take what you learned years ago and then go and practice it as an assistant principal, and then now, working with new teachers now? Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So I work closely, actually, and I helped Robin Bossinger. I kind of positioned her in this role. I didn't help her do much other than just kind of share the research. She really leads the work in Clay County. But I will tell you that one of the things that we have really done is, first of all, we took what we learned in Clay County, but we also, when we were starting the program, called other districts and said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
what's going well, what would you do differently? So just
Mm-hmm.
the idea of that collective collaboration and learning from other people, not having to be the knowers of everything, and just recognizing that you can take the bits and pieces of knowledge and greatness that other people have around you and really kind of weave that together. But one of the things that we've really tried to do this year with this program, since I've been on board, and Robin does a masterful job at it, is really aligning the supports from the district with the schools. So coherence is big for us. And so when I say coherence, what I mean is aligning the learning priorities across the district and the school and the classroom. So one of the things that we do now is so for example, this year, when we're bringing on our new teachers, we have a clear set. We have our instructional vision, and we provide support in those areas. And we share resources with the school leaders as well that are made that they can adapt as needed. But so those new teachers are hearing the same message around those same the principles of the instructional vision.
So new teachers have a administrator they're going to be working with. They're going to have a department head, and they're also going to have a coach.
Yes, yep, they have a district coach as well. And we really try to collectively align that work, because it can be a lot. When you're a beginning
Mm-hmm.
teacher, you have all these different voices, but creating systems that are efficient to be able to communicate with them. For example, Martin, you'll know this. Every time a district coach works with a teacher, they fill out a quick visit form. And what that does is that's sent directly to the teacher and the school leader. So they know, okay, this is what they're working on, and they can continue to have those conversations, and they know what the teacher is hearing, so they don't get overwhelmed getting multiple messages from a lot of people.
And it's nice because
Absolutely.
sometimes the coaches will come talk to you about what's going on with the teacher and ask about your concerns. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have that three-pronged approach.
Yeah, and
So
another thing that
important.
we're doing now, that every school has their a school specific indicator on their walkthrough log based on that school's focus. We share that with all of the coaches, whether they're coaching beginning teachers or content teams, specialist coaches. Everyone at the district level knows this is what they're working on at Middleburg High. So when we're talking to those teachers, these are the things that we need to be supporting to align with that focus of the school.
You talked
Go ahead,
so
Mike.
much about aligning supports from the district to the school and really focusing on coherence. And that's so important for new teachers. Can you talk about how you really align the district's instructional vision to the school's instructional vision to make sure that the teachers and the new teachers have a clear sense of what they're doing?
Yes, and this has been a work in progress over many years. It started back in 2020 when we had an all new district leadership. We started that first year. We didn't realize what it would grow into, but we started with what we called a One Clay Vision task force or something like that. But we brought together leaders from multiple schools throughout the district. It wasn't everybody. I don't even think we were probably supposed to all be meeting in the same room at that time, but we were spread out. I do remember that.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, shh, don't tell. But no, we
Right.
but we had school leaders, and then we had district leaders from different departments too. And we said, what do we need our vision to be? And we drew from the different initiatives that had been in place over the past several years. And we really kind of grappled with it and engaged in a lot of productive struggle, and really came to an instructional vision and then a common understanding of what that meant. And I think that was the first time that I had ever been a part of a meeting where we had school leaders, district department leaders, everybody coming together. And so when we left that meeting, it wasn't one person's idea. It wasn't based on one perspective. It was really taking that collective understanding understanding of where we were and saying, this is what we need to happen. And so because of that, even though every school leader wasn't in the room, every leader that was in the room has their peers and, their group that they talk to. And they're like, no, this is legit stuff. Like, we've talked through this. And because we had so many voices, it ended up being good. We didn't have to convince anybody this is the right work, because it came from our own ideas of what we needed and what our biggest concerns were and what our needs were. And so being able to do that has helped us have that common voice. And then we revisited it after the first year and we said, okay, we tried out this vision, what worked, what didn't. And every year now since, we've had a One Clay Vision Task Force meeting. It's actually usually multiple meetings, and we dive into what do we need to do with the vision. At first, I'll tell you, after the first year, we're like, all right, we're bored of this. Like, what are we going to switch to? But then there were voices that said, because we talked about learning targets and success criteria 4 years ago. And we're like, all right, like, that's good. What's next? What do we need to talk about now? And there were voices in the room that said, no, but is every teacher doing learning targets and success criteria? If they're not, let's do it again, but not the same. Let's go deeper and let's really strengthen that understanding. And we're now going on year 4 of learning targets and success criteria, but we are, number one, we're seeing it implemented, but the idea of teacher clarity and then the way that we're talking about it is so much deeper and more meaningful. So we've been able to,
and starting with the end in mind, especially as we see, everything, all the shifts where we're going. And
wow, I think that's
really
that process.
On the benchmark.
That process is so powerful. I know we do it as a school and really reestablish our vision and our collective vision for the school year. But how powerful is that to think that you did it for the entire district and brought in, I believe you guys have close to 50 schools right now, if not right over 50 schools. So bringing in leaders from a variety of schools to really share that equity of voice and creating that collective vision for the entire district. But most importantly, revisiting it on an annual basis to make sure that it fits your mission every day. Wow.
I think it's
powerful.
important that we're not trying to rewrite it every single year, that it's something that we started with, the pie chart of the 4 little, our target. And then it just kind of, we focus in a little further on, and don't try and rewrite it every single time. That stuff would drive me nuts. It'd be a different, 2 or 3 or 4 years in education. And then some whole new thing would start over. Like, we've had the consistency. So it's been great with our kids too.
Well, again, your willingness to go slow to go fast, right? This is year 4 on learning targets and success criteria, right? So really going slow to ensure that that is seen in 90% of our classrooms is essential. So shout out to you for the leadership there and really developing that process for your schools. Martin, do you have the next question?
Yeah, talk about the PLC process and then how taking that PLC process has led to Teacher Leadership Academy and now the OLA, whatever, the One Clay Leadership Academy. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. So that was one of the things too, that we knew that we needed to implement alongside our instructional vision, right? So when we all came in, we said, we've got this instructional vision now, but we really need to work collaboratively as professional learning communities to really ensure that our students are learning. And so, at first we had some people with some historical knowledge of that from previous leadership, but we weren't where we needed to be. But what we did say, and just listening to the school leaders, they're like, but we don't have enough people that remember how to lead this work. We need teacher leaders we need training to help them do this. And so that first year we said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the 4 PLC questions, those 4 essential questions, and we're going to do some training with leaders. And we asked all the school leaders to identify teacher leaders that they would want to lead learning teams within their schools and send them in the summer. And we do some training. So we did it the first year. Again, it was COVID, so we had to separate into 2 sites. So we had elementary at one campus and high school at another, or secondary at another. And then within that, we needed fewer people in the room so we could spread out. So we had all these classrooms going. And because we needed all of that space, we had to enlist a lot of the district specialists to lead. Now, they all led the same session around the 4 PLC questions, but we had all the people going through that learning during COVID. And it actually turned out so much better. We thought it was just going to be like a 2-day training, come in, get it, let's go.
Some of the most powerful PD I've been a part of. Yeah.
It was, yeah, it was so amazing. One of the things I think that made it so beneficial, even in that first year, was that we built in at the very end, we asked the school leaders to come in, because the training was really just for teachers. So we had the teachers come in that first year, and then we had the school leaders come in like the after lunch on the second day to talk with the teachers on the team and kind of make a plan. So really providing that time and space. Well, after experiencing it that way, I mean, it was so the teachers were on fire. They were seen and valued as leaders, as the true professionals that they are. And so then they're like, okay, we need to do it again next year. We want to come back. So we're like, all right, now we're going to have all different types of sessions. So it really became a conference, we, rather than that first year where everyone was in a different room getting the same session. Now we had all these different sessions based on the different levels of the teams, and teachers are wanting to come. And then we invited the school leaders to come the full time. We had sessions for school leaders, but school leaders can also go with the teachers. And it really has become just such a powerful part of building culture and teacher retention in our district. And I'll tell you, a huge part of that made it so successful was that when we started planning that, even that first year, we started by getting teachers in the room, getting teacher voice. So it's not something that's planned in isolation. Just like when we established our vision, we get the school leaders together, we get their input with this Teacher Leadership Academy, which has now become One Clay Leadership Academy and has grown beyond just teacher leaders. And now we have, leaders from all different areas. We've got counselors, we've got psychologists, we've got, and now teachers are facilitating those sessions as well. But, and so it's really a collective ownership around the work. And it's come from that, because we include those voices of teachers in planning. And it's like, what do you need? What misconceptions are you seeing? What's going to be most benefit to you? And we're able to put that in place for them.
And it helps us as administration, because I don't have to come top down with everything and filter it out. Having the teachers there's so many times we sit in PD and we're like, oh God, I wish my math teacher was in here, or my ELA teacher, and having them actually there, like leading the work, it's so powerful. And then we also try and bring in, like, if we hire a new teacher, we think it's going to be a rock star in the future, we want to bring them in and be a part of it. So it's been powerful from our end. And I know high school principals always aren't the easiest ones to deal with, Jenie. It's okay. As far as, with all the PD. So, having the teachers involved has been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they take the reins and they go.
Yep.
And, just elaborating on that, especially in regards to teacher retention and professional development, can you elaborate on the importance of growing teachers and teacher leaders as well through professional development and how that relates to retention?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I did not really, if you would have asked me this question, 5 years ago, I would have said, oh, yes, I'm sure as teachers learn more, they want to stay. But really seeing the impact of helping these teachers see themselves as leaders, see their impact not only on their students, but on the other teachers around them and their students, and to be recognized for the expertise that they bring to the field has been just invaluable. I mean, we have teachers telling us, like, I was burnt out, I was ready to leave. You come in, you teach, you do your same thing over and over until I got involved with One Clay Leadership Academy, or, I'm leading this learning team, or I'm doing, and they're able to, this year, I'm super excited. We're starting a demonstration classroom program where we have teachers who are getting supplements to be demonstration classrooms where they create videos of their practice aligned to the One Clay vision and the power practices that we talked about today. But we're going to have video footage for that. And then also being able to open their classrooms to have other teachers come in. And those are those little things that help teachers stay engaged, and it gives them a new goal to work towards, and they want to be a part of the profession because it's hard because there's not really a firm and clear vertical progression, but we have a lot of teachers who don't want to go into administration but they need that
Mm-hmm.
challenge and that leadership opportunity. And so it's been really powerful to see as they learn and grow, they become more engaged in the profession, more excited. They see the results with their students, and so they want to stay and keep teaching.
So again, seeing the results in their students, so important, right? And once they feel that success, they want to continue building upon that success as well. So I want to continue with your new teacher program as well. And as you know, we are in week 2 of the 24-25 school year. What are some pro tips that you would give a new teacher transitioning into the classroom?
Okay, some pro tips for a new teacher would be, first of all, find your marigold. I don't know if you've heard of that article or whatever, but find that
Yes.
person on your campus who's going to be that positive influence. Of course, first of all, find that, because you're going to need to, get advice. You're also going to need to have that shoulder to cry on. So do that. I would say also, get to know your students, but also give yourself some grace, because you're learning alongside the you're learning the students, you're learning how to navigate the parents. There's so much in education that you need to know. But the biggest things is, know what you're teaching. So figure out where your benchmarks are, figure out what your curriculum is. And then, figure out really it comes down to, creating that. For us, we really focus on that classroom management first, getting those routines and procedures in place. And then let's just look at the learning target for those benchmarks. So really and actually we really work closely with teachers with those learning targets and success criteria for those classroom management procedures, starting with those, really kind of building that understanding of how to implement that teacher clarity in your classroom with those procedures. So those are a lot of tips. I would not give them all to a beginning teacher all at once, but those are the key areas that I would focus on.
Can I tell you, just to sum it up, I would absolutely give them to our new teachers. Find your marigold, find that support person, right? Find that best friend at school that's going to be there to help you bounce ideas off and also be that shoulder to cry on. Give yourself grace. That's something that I know I tell my teachers. I know Martin tells his teachers. Give yourself grace as you're transitioning students back, right? Don't expect so much in a month and not expect it in a year from our students, right? So give yourself grace, give students grace, know your curriculum. So important. Just the basic
Well,
of
and we've come a
knowing your
long way from just
curriculum.
handing them a teacher's edition and keys and
Yes.
saying get to work. Like we talked about this today, Jenny, in our little breakout. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are some teachers that are new teachers that are having more success than some of our veterans because they are sticking with the curriculum map. It's
Yes.
tied to benchmarks, so they're having that success because the blueprint's out there for them and just have to follow it. And then you got to like
Mhm.
kids, and you got to be able to move past some of the behaviors they're trying to get you. So the classroom management helps as well.
But you talked about creating those learning targets and success criteria for behavioral management as well. So really going back to starting slow to go fast, right? Build that
Yes.
foundation and then dive into the curriculum as well. So again, those are all tips that I know I'm sharing with my teachers. I'll be snipping this and sharing with our new teachers as well as they launch into week 2 and week 3 of their learning and really diving into the curriculum as we really begin
I'm going to
diving
steal
into the
your
curriculum.
pro tip. Okay, Mike, I'll steal your pro tip question. It's very
Yes.
very good every single week, so I'm stealing it. All right, Mike said a pro tip for a teacher. How about a pro tip for an administrator that's trying to groom a new teacher?
Great question.
Right. Yeah, I think that a pro tip for an administrator that's really working with that new teacher would be to check in on them, get to know them, get to know what they do really well, and praise them for that, recognize them for that, help them see how it's benefiting their students, because that as a beginning teacher, everything you're out of your element. You're uncomfortable. You don't know what you're doing right, what you're not. So really celebrating, like, what is it that you've got going for you, and then can help them you implement that in those other areas that are more challenging. I also think that connecting them with, if they haven't found their marigold, or they may not know, but really connecting them with those strong colleagues that you really want them to learn from, that this is someone that's going to really benefit you to go in and see their practice. I think those types of things are really important. There's going to be a lot of areas probably that you're going to see that these beginning teachers need help in. And they likely know it. They don't feel very comfortable in those areas, but really saying like, hey, you're doing this really well. Go see this person, look for this, and then recognize when they start to implement that. And just check in on them as a person. They want to. Teachers stay in schools. Teachers because of the leadership. People. We know that teachers. People leave jobs often because of leadership, not because of other factors. And so just investing in them as a person, just to really check in and see how they're going, how they're doing, what they might need, and then being there to respond and support.
Yeah, just like kids, is they don't care about what you know until they know you care. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's next for you? What are you working on? Like that's what I love. You're always growing and learning. Like, what are you working on next?
So my interests right now are in kind of researching, in a sense, the work that we're doing. So of course, in Clay County, we've got the demonstration classrooms that we're growing, how we can continue to grow that. And then we have a partnership with UNF with Project PREP, which PREP stands for Partnering to Renew the Educator Pipeline. And we're really looking at how we create systems from high school all the way up through the doctorate degree to help educators continue to learn and grow. And so with that, we're able to collect some data to see how things are being implemented in Clay. So I'm kind of dabbling in some writing, some academic writing. I have an article that I need to upload here soon around coherence and organizational learning. But just, it's exciting to be finished with my doctorate. I finished that a couple years ago. And so I have a little bit more free time to explore all the different things that are interesting to me. But yeah, it's just exciting. The beauty of education is it's always changing, always growing. We're in the people business. So there's always something to learn and to be able to share and try it out, see how it goes.
What I love is that you are really taking ownership of your job title, right? You're the Director of School Improvement, Professional Learning, and Assessment, and you're constantly doing that, and you're constantly pursuing professional learning and growing as well. So you're leading by example. So again, shout out to you, Dr. Jenie Shepard. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is a very special one for me. Again, it goes back to 2012, 2013, when we worked on those learning goals and scales. So, I became a huge fan of yours back then, just seeing the high quality work. And again, you worked laps around me then and now for sure. So just thank you for this time, just helping to educate us and guide our educational leaders. So again, tonight was Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph. I'm the proud principal of the Leesburg High School, joined by my co-host, Martin Aftuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Jenie Shepard, for joining us tonight.
Go opening volleyball night, Leesburg and Middleburg tonight. Go Broncos.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, I'm here in our gym. Yes, go Jackets. Yes. All right, have a good night.
All right, I'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thanks.